Senators from both parties have reached a deal for more funding at the border. Senate Appropriations Chairman Richard Shelby and Ranking Member Patrick Leahy have agreed to provide approximately $4.5 billion in border funding.
The decision comes as the president kicks off his reelection bid with the promise of deporting millions of undocumented immigrants. CBSNews.com reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now from Washington with more. So on Monday, President Trump tweeted ICE would begin the process of removing, quote, millions of undocumented immigrants who have illicitly found their way into the United States. So who is he referring to? Yeah, so thanks for having me, Vlad and Ann. So the president's comments on Monday night seemed to have blindsided everyone, including ICE. They weren't aware of this. ICE typically doesn't announce when it is conducting operations, including large-scale ones like the president is alluding to. And obviously, this would be an unprecedented deportation blitz that advocates and attorneys say is not logistically possible. ICE only has a few thousand officers who carry out these removals. One senior administration official told CBS News that the operation, which did not sound like it was going to happen anytime soon, just in the coming weeks, not as next week as the president alluded to, would target over 1 million undocumented immigrants living here in the U.S. who have pending removal orders. That is to say, a judge ordered them to be deported.
So over 1 million people. ICE didn't know anything about it. Usually, you know, the element of surprise is a significant component when it comes to a successful raid, if you will. Is this a real thing? Do we know whether or not this is a real thing or just something that the president threw out?
Right. So the new ICE chief told reporters last week that the agency was preparing for a new wave of roundups, and he explicitly said that these included families. So there are some preparations to ramp up enforcement in the interior. Remember, ICE handles interior enforcement while Border Patrol handles enforcement across the northern and U.S. Mexico borders. And so there is some truth from what we've heard from ICE that they will ramp up enforcement in the interior to address the border crisis. They sent a very generic statement to us yesterday where they said that the border crisis does not stop at the border, but that they have to deal with it here in the interior. But one very important caveat is that the people that this operation would potentially target are not recent arrivals who were recently apprehended at the border, because most of them have sought asylum, and under U.S. law, you cannot deport them immediately. But they will, again, like I mentioned earlier, target those who have been living here and were ordered removed by a judge. You know, let's just remember that the largest deportation happened under President Obama. There are many critics called him the deporter-in-chief, and that was something like 400,000. So when you're talking about millions here, it is unprecedented. But let me ask you this, Camilo. ICE has been facing a shortage of funds and space at their detention centers. How could a large-scale deportation like this, if it happens, affect that? Right. So I think the best answer to that question, Vlad, is that it will obviously provoke massive outcry among Democrats, obviously, but even independents and some Republicans and immigration advocates, just in a very similar way to what happened when the public found out about the zero-tolerance policy that led to thousands of migrant children being separated from their parents at the U.S. Mexico border. And this will obviously, you know, just feed into that message by some Democrats, particularly on the very left faction of the party, that, you know, have called for ICE abolishment, right, for the reform of the agency. And some have just, you know, called for the complete wind down of the agency so they can start a new one. So obviously it will be harder for Congress to appropriate funds for ICE if Democrats who control the House now have more ammunition to condemn the president's immigration agenda. All right, we'll be watching. Camilo, thank you very much. Nice job reporting. Thank you, Vlad and Ann.